Knack on the PS4. This is a research stream. I played this game for about half an hour already to get past the first chapter. Seems okay. It's supposed to be one of those Mascot platformers. It's a Sony of Japan special. It seems kind of weird. Didn't these guys work on Ape Escape? I mean, these guys know how to make a platformer, but this thing seems kind of unremarkable so far. I guess the best way to describe it is, it's a pretty traditional, platform brawler, I'd say, so far. There are these tiny little arenas, and you go from one tiny arena to the next arena. It's this little corridor, and you'll see how the flow works. I mean, this game feels like a Vita game. Let's skip that. This game feels like a Vita game or a PS3 game that just got converted to a PS4 project. And you'll see why as I play more of this game. Yeah, ignore the exposition. The story's not a big deal. But this game's tone seems to be more of a line on seems to be similar to Cubix and Eon Kid, I guess, if you remember those CGI series from the early 2000s. The look of the show seems to be similar as well. So it's a CGI, spec-fi, child-friendly fantasy thing. The game's rated E10, by the way. I think it gives some idea about what to expect. So its humor seems to be a bit safer than, a bit less. How do I say this? It's not as cheeky, and there aren't as many double entendres in this game as there are in Ratchet and Clank. If you play Ratchet and Clank, you know that's not exactly all that mature. So fair warning there. I'm just pressing the square button to attack. I can attack like this. I can attack in the air. I thought the game came with a manual, didn't it? Yeah, the game didn't really come with a manual. It came with a transparent box as usual, and it tells you what you can do. Triangle for changing parts. Stealth Knack. Square to attack, pick up, and throw. Circle to use power-ups or super moves. X to jump or double jump. That's it. This is on the inside of the cover. So the game doesn't come with a manual. At least mine didn't, and it probably doesn't at all. Because I got it used. This game's pretty cheap. I want to say it's about $5 or $6 right now. So, if you're curious, it costs about as much as a rental does these days. This feels like a game you could probably play if you can't find Ratchet and Clank, which is a game I was also able to obtain recently, so I'll be able to do a research stream on that. But me and Ratchet and Clank are on terms these days. We're about ready to break it off, call it quits. We're ready to go our separate ways. I played all three. I played the first three Ratchet and Clank games on the PS2. Actually, I played the remasters on the PS3. And they were okay, I guess. But, Okay, the dude literally just said, as you all know, and they continued with the expo dump. That's literally like saying, as you all know, as you all know, lithium ion. No, it's like, as you all know, microwaves are used to cook foods. I mean, right? Why would you say, as you all know, to an audience that already knows everything you're going to say? You know what? As you all know, Walt Disney created Mickey Mouse. I mean, come on, people. There are always these little bits that they do for exposition. There's got to be a better way to do expo dump. Oh, wait, I have to switch. Let's switch. Just a second. I want to make sure I change the difficulty level. Because I already completed Chapter 1 on normal. In case it's hard, good. So I'm playing on hard mode. The game has very generous checkpoints. I want to say there's a checkpoint before every one of these tiny little rooms we're going into. So as we go into this little corridor here that prefetches the next arena, I suppose, eventually you get to a room, and then we're going to fight off a tiny little mob of enemies, maybe 2 or 3 of them. Then we're going to advance. That's what I'm saying, that feels like a PS Vita game. Because the arenas are very, whoops. Don't stay on these floorboards. Ow! Yeah, don't stay on the floor, you'll still get electrocuted. So yeah, let me get past this. It's serious time. Hurry up. Okay, here we go. Hurry up. There we go. Had to pause a little bit, so I do like that bit. So again, you see what's going on here? You got these tiny, tiny, tiny little rooms, so the camera's not a problem. But there's not a whole lot of meat here in terms of, the size of the rooms. And as we go along, you're going to see a lot of just tiny rooms with small mobs, like, 3 or... Whoops! Whoops. I didn't know there was. I don't think there was any fall damage anyway. But I also don't think there were any bombless pits. But it does feel kind of weird to play a game on a PS4 that feels like a 10-year-old. It feels like a 10-year-old, you know, Mascot platformer like this. Like Ratchet and Clank without guns. And more linear level design, I'd say. At least at this point. Like no hub areas yet. We'll get to that, I guess. As far as level 1 goes.
Knack, pick up those relics.
And while I didn't mind what I've played so far of this game, but the level does kind of feel twice as long as it should be for a tutorial area. So that's slightly disappointing. So I guess it is slightly hand-holdy. Okay, so Knack just grew here, but again, I didn't have any control over that. There was no strategy to that. It's just an automatic thing that just happens. So maybe that's going to be a strategy that develops later, but right now, everything that's happening in this game is as it's scripted to happen. So, press the right stick to dodge. You can evade in all 8 directions. There's a bit of a delay, obviously, when you recover, but the game is teaching you how to dodge. I died quite a few times in that last room the first time I played because I was being impatient. And I'm double jumping, then using my double jump attack so that I can avoid any of those, you know, blenders, those blender blades. And the projectiles those enemies are shooting. Hey, look out for that dude. Whoa, whoa. Just a second. I don't know if that jumping attack does half as much damage. Just a moment. I was trying to dodge him. He's going to swing twice. I have to keep that in mind. Okay, we're fine. I guess this is slightly harder than normal mode based on how the path of those projectiles. Ow! I think the safest thing to do is to just dodge then counterattack for these guys. So every enemy does require a tiny bit of strategy. The footage actually the footage is somewhat accurate in that this frame rate's about 30 FPS max. It dips into the 20s during the combat for various reasons I'm not sure of. So it's not exactly that well optimized, considering, you know. And I mean, this doesn't look like a very demanding engine, does it? I mean, this doesn't look like a game that has a lot of demanding visuals. And compared to something like Horizon Zero Dawn or Spider-Man, this engine doesn't seem like a big deal. I mean, I would say it doesn't perform much better than a Switch game. Compare this to, like, you know, Mario Odyssey. Not exactly that impressive. I mean, I guess it's okay. Of course, it probably runs about as well as Breath of the Wild does, now that I think about it. Or at least Breath of the Wild on the Wii. That's a lot more demanding game, obviously. I understand that. You know, what do you call it? LOD demands and all of that. What do you call it? Load on demand, whatever it's called. How many polygons are you pushing within that tiny little area? And you gotta stream it seamlessly, that kind of thing. So press circle twice for a super move. Well, I didn't know you had to press it twice. I thought you only had to press it once. No one's here. Okay, that was a waste. So how do I get rid of this? So wants me to press it again? So there's the shockwave. So press it once and press it again for the shockwave. Okay. Circle, circle. See, it wipes out the room. So if you know what you're doing, you can save that for specific instances. But so far, again, from what I've seen in this tutorial level, it's not that difficult to figure out, you know. Because, again, you get these sunstones pretty much automatically. Though a bit later, whoops. A bit later, you're going to see me find some secret rooms, but right now, it's not that big of a deal. You had to jump around to close in. And it's kind of hard to close the distance sometimes. Knack doesn't have any projectile attacks yet. Whoops. He does have that, you know, sunstone attack. that's those yellow crystals I'm grabbing, they're sunstones. Trying to melee me with that gun. I know what you're trying to do, son. Okay, here we go. Take out the projectile guy first, I guess. See, the mobs can be challenging. Like, you have to use a tiny bit of strategy, I guess, to figure out which enemy to go after first. Could just use my stone. I could just use my shockwave there because we got some yellow stones over here. Can I come back for these? Nope. We'll have a full life. We'll have a full sunstone meter anyway. So if I want to press double circle, I can waste one of those sunstones. We'll see how it goes. Just have to wait for the next batch of enemies.
Knack, power up again using the sunstone.
I'm already powered up.
Knack can also use the power of the sunstones to transform himself into a storm of relics.
You'll let this part of the cutscene play out. So circle to activate the sunstones, then press another button to activate the sunstone power. So double circles for the shockwave you saw me do. Circle square is for the storm. And I can also press circle triangle later on for a long distance attack. Okay, I shouldn't have done that. I was trying to save these sunstones. Hurry up. Hello? Do you want me to just do this attack anyway? Okay, circle square. So the game wanted me to do that. Okay, fine.
Now, Knack,
Here we go.
show them what your storm
How about I just do a
attack can
shockwave
to those
instead?
enemies.
See, the game wanted me to do a
As
storm
you will
attack,
see,
but I ended up doing the
Knack
shockwave
is able
instead.
to use
Because,
the energy contained within the
story
sunstones
trigger.
to augment his
I need some
already
health here.
formidable
There we go.
powers.
Let's eat these. Not those. Eat these. I can't go backwards anyway. That fan's gonna push me off the edge, but whatever. So will that conveyor belt. Don't stay on those yellow tiles too long. They shock you if you stay on them too long. It's like here they are over here. Hit the switch. Take out the shields. Circle, circle. Shockwave knocks the enemies down. That takes out that area. I'm gonna wait for this guy. Okay. Had to dodge him. Big Knack seems to have a longer punch, like a longer punch range, like a longer limb range than the traditional Knack form. I think this is based on Super Mario rules, right? It's like, you know, short Knack is like regular Mario, then he gets that magic mushroom and he becomes Magic Mushroom Super Knack, I guess.
Impressive.
See, Knack's voice seems to be
He seems a
interesting
little
because he's not obnoxious.
When we go after the goblins,
It's like they made him into an adult. He's voiced by an adult, which I actually kind of like. He's not as annoying as Mario, who has like this
security robots with me.
kind of
If Knack can get
squeaky,
by
annoying
those,
cartoon
then I'll
voice.
grant he has a place in the expedition.
Maybe when you're 5, that's interesting, but I kind of prefer Knack. See, see that little beat right there. I like.
Do. Let's take this to the garden. There's a bit more room.
Like if you think about it, it looks kind of like a Transformer from the Michael Bay series, from the Michael Bay movies, except instead of being, you know, a junk pile like a lot of late, you know, Transformers design tends to be, he's actually more of a gravity well, I guess. It's like he's a sentient gravity well, I suppose, and all these tiny little bits and pieces are kind of orbiting the center of his body, which is kind of interesting. So he's not a robot like the things he's beating up. He's actually more of a sentient force of a sentient force of gravity, which I admit is kind of amusing. Kind of like a Storm Atronic in Skyrim, if you remember those. Like the little golem-looking things, where it's like, you know, I've summoned a few Storm Atronics in that game, and they're like rocks that are connected by lightning, so it's kind of an interesting idea, I think.
Using the power of the
I mean, I'm not saying it's actually original, I'm just saying I kind of like the idea. Instead of just making Knack a robot, you make him like a gravity well. Okay, whoops! Took the L there. So it's circle triangle then, huh? We will knock that dude out right away. Didn't even need to dodge and counter. Take all those. I need more sunstones. Circle, circle. Down they go. Let's grab some more over here. As long as I have at least one sunstone. See on the top left-hand corner of the screen, those little yellow crystals. As long as I have at least one full sunstone circle, I'm fine. I can have up to 3. Okay. Circle triangle. Try it again. Circle triangle. Nope. Circle triangle. I missed. Circle. Just a second. Circle triangle. There we go. That was harder than it should have been.
Blast attack is even capable of striking multiple targets at once.
I think I accidentally hit a projectile instead of the thrower that time, which is why I needed another attack on that projectile thrower. And I found a secret area that I totally forgot about because I didn't see the secret area the first time I played, but I skipped the secret